일런 머스크와 트럼프가 정부 부서를 없앨 수 없다. 오직 의회만 할 수 있다. 영상이 올라왔는데요. 같이 한번 보시도록 하겠습니다.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was created in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis and was championed by Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now, the CFPB is firmly in the crosshairs of President Trump and Elon Musk.
엘리자베스
And joining us now with
워렌
more is Yahoo Finance's
의원이
Jennifer
곧
Schonberger. Jen.
나옵니다.
Hey, Josh, that's right. With the Trump administration freezing the CFPB's operations, I spoke with Senator Elizabeth
상원의원이죠.
Warren earlier this afternoon about just that, as well as consolidating bank agencies and lowering interest rates. Take a listen. Want to kick off the conversation with the letter that you sent along with 200 of your colleagues to the CFPB and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent earlier today, calling for them to unfreeze operations. But I'm curious, are you prepared to take legislative action? What are you prepared to do? What can you do as senator to uphold the CFPB and keep it operational?
Well, let's be clear. We've already taken legislative action. It is Congress that created the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And it is only
소비자를
Congress,
보호하는
not
부서입니다.
Donald Trump, not Elon Musk, not some guy in off the street who can actually get rid of the CFPB. So the law is there. The law is unambiguous. The
화가
law
많이
is
나신 것 같아요.
clear. What we want is for the Doge co-presidents to simply abide by the law. And if they won't do that, then we got to go to court and make that happen. But the law's already done. There's just
별거
nothing more
없습니다.
to
그냥
do.
법이라고 합니다.
Mhm.
그냥 법을
I'm curious, the
지키겠다고 합니다.
CFPB, obviously your brainchild, near and dear to your heart, and it seems like it's constantly caught in the political crosshairs right now with being frozen by the Trump administration. Last year, its funding structure was challenged. Ultimately, the Supreme Court upheld it. In the first Trump administration, we also saw officials try to gut it. I'm curious, is there a way you would be open to bringing the CFPB into the appropriations process as a way to stabilize a lot of these forces at play and keep it operational?
Look, let's be clear. The folks who want to kill it want to kill it. They don't want to change it a little bit. The appropriations argument has always just been a smokescreen. Starting, you ready to do a little history? Starting in 1863 with the first bank regulator, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, Congress decided that bank regulators should be outside the appropriations process. And the reason is pretty straightforward because Congress, even back then, worried that the big bankers and their lobbyists would come in and influence elected officials to go easy on the banks. So they said it's important to retain independence. And that is why every banking regulator, not just the CFPB, but every banking regulator is regulated outside the appropriations process. You know, the Republicans and the bankers have taken the CFPB all the way to the Supreme Court twice. They have failed both times. But what's interesting about that is there are a lot of folks who said, wait a minute, you try to unravel the CFPB and you unravel other big parts of how we run our banking regulatory structure. Remember right now, for every consumer protection law on credit cards, on checking accounts, on car loans, on payday loans, on student loans, every one of those, the CFPB is the cop on the beat. And what co-president Elon Musk has done is he has told all the cops, quit doing your job. That is not making anybody safer, and it sure as heck is not lowering costs for American families. Donald Trump promised he was going to lower costs for American families, and instead he is raising costs for American families if they're going to get cheated because Elon Musk has taken the cops off the beat.
Two follow-ups there.
일런
Wall Street
머스크
Journal
이름이 여러 번
reporting that the
나옵니다.
Trump administration is talking about trying to consolidate bank regulators without the input of Congress. The article says they're looking at folding the FDIC into the Treasury and combining the FDIC with the OCC. your thoughts on that. And given that Congress is the body that creates regulatory
일론 머스크가 가정의 비용을 줄일 수 없을 것이다. 이 엘리자베스 워렌 상원의원이 이렇게 말을 하는 것 같아요. 한번 계속 들어보시죠.
agencies and would dismantle them without support of Democrats, is this a non-starter?
You know, you have that part of it exactly right. Congress created these agencies, all of them, and only Congress can end them. But can we just stop to say for a minute what a really bad idea that is? Do we really think our financial system is going to operate better if we get rid of the FDIC insurance? Do you really want to be there the day that they're scraping the FDIC insured stickers off the entry doors to the banks all across America? I don't think so.
Senator, do you have concerns about DOGE and Congress's ability to retain control of the purse strings?
So the law is clear on this, and the courts will enforce the law if Elon Musk and Donald Trump break it. That's how our system works. That's right there in
일론
a
머스크와
constitution. This
트럼프가
isn't even
법을
very
깼다. 뭐
fancy.
이런 얘기를
You don't
하는
need a law degree to understand this part. Congress has built these laws. The administration is not doing the job it promised to do, and that is lower costs for American families. Instead, it's out there creating more chaos and, in fact, raising costs for people across this country and causing a lot of disruption in our economy. You know, trying to shut down an agency, trying to fire tens of thousands of federal employees, breaching federal contracts, again, in violation of law. This is an administration that is creating more economic.
정부가 더 많은 경제적인 혼돈을 만들어내고 있다. 이렇게 얘기합니다. 정부란 여기서 도널드 트럼프 대통령과 일론 머스크. 좀 아쉽네요. 실제로 경제적인 혼돈이 오게 된다면 과연 어떤 일이 일어날지 저 역시 궁금하네요. 계속 들어보시죠.
Chaos and ultimately increasing costs for families. They need to work on getting costs down.
Senator, switching gears a bit, ironically, one thing that you and President Trump seem to agree on is lowering interest rates. In fact, you called on Fed Chair Powell at yesterday's Senate Banking Committee hearing to lower rates at the next policy meeting. I'm curious, though, Secretary Scott Bessent has said that the administration wants to bring down long-term borrowing costs by targeting the yield on the 10-year Treasury, which, as you know, affects so many borrowing costs in this economy, particularly mortgage rates. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
Look, I have urged the Fed to bring down interest rates for a long time now because I want to see families be able to afford mortgages and pay off their credit cards and
본인이
buy a
이하에
car
계속
without
동의를
car
해왔다.
loans being
본인
sky
얘기합니다.
high. I understand the concern that Chair Powell has right now.
파월의 입장에
We
동의한다.
live in an on again, off again, on again tariff environment, on again, off again, firing tens of thousands of federal employees, breaching
많은 사람들이
federal
해고를 원하지
contracts
않는다.
all over this
이렇게
country,
얘기합니다.
trying to shut down child care centers around the country, and firing financial cops who are the people who make sure that consumers can keep using those credit cards and checking accounts without getting cheated. There's a lot of economic turmoil right now created by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And I understand how that gives the Fed pause. I still want to see those interest rates come down. I think it's the right thing to do. But we also need to
바로
stop this
시작될 거라고
economic
얘기하는데요.
chaos. This is not helping American families.
Senator, before I
미국
let you
가족에
go, really
좋지
quickly,
않은 영향을
you've been
미칠
talking about
것이다.
inflation, trying to bring prices down. We did get a new reading on the consumer price index this morning. Food prices up, egg prices, of course, up because of the avian flu. I know historically you have been out to egg companies in this country, calling on them to bring down their prices, calling them out for price gouging. What is Congress prepared to do to try to bring down food prices for Americans? Is this about investing in the food supply?
So, look, I can tell you what we don't want to do, and that is what Donald Trump has done, and that is taking down information off the National Institute of Health's websites on avian flu so that we can work together to try to stop the spread. That's a way that you try to get a crisis under control and keep prices down. Right now, the Trump administration has the tools. They made the promise. Donald Trump said repeatedly on day one he would bring those prices down. He said repeatedly
트럼프는
he
답을
could do it
가지고 있다.
immediately. He knew what the tools are. Why isn't he using those tools to bring down prices?
Senator, we'll have to leave the conversation there. So many questions, so little time. So appreciate your insight. Hope to speak with you again
예,
soon.
여기까지 하도록
You bet.
하겠습니다.